Hi guys, today we are going to be talking with Miss Lashonda Jones of Southern Conference Days about how you can start an Airbnb business in 2021. We're going to be talking about if it takes experience and all of that good stuff. You may be wondering, why are you talking about Airbnb, Teacher Daisha? Well, this is all in the effort of Open Mic October. I would like to share with you guys more side hustles that you can do because, let's be honest, Cambly and ESL doesn't always work. And even if it does, it's not the most lucrative side hustles. So I wanted to share this with you guys, and also be on the lookout for more content coming during the month of October about other side hustles and other lives that I will be having with other hustlers. Okay, so let's get into it, talking about Airbnb with Miss Lashonda Jones. All right, so hey Shonda.
Hey.
How are you today? How are you doing today?
Say it one more time.
I said, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you? I tried to put my earbuds in, but I guess it's not gonna work. So never mind that. Go ahead.
It's okay. We've been having some technical difficulties all day today, seems like. So again, for those who are joining on Instagram, if you come to the YouTube, you'll be able to see as well. So Shonda, you've been starting a new journey with Airbnb so far. When did you start Airbnb, first of all?
I started Airbnb November of 2019. So yep, it's been a while.
Yeah. I think that's around the same time I started teaching. So it's been, yeah, okay. So about a year, almost 2 years.
Yeah, so November this year be November, 2 years. I'm like, wait a minute. I feel like I lost a whole year with last year in the pandemic. I'm like, I don't even know what happened last year. So
Yeah.
yeah, I guess I gotta count 2020.
Well, yeah, it's I've been seeing your Instagram, and you've been making a lot of profit, looks like. So I wanted to share that. I know this probably has seemed random when I first started this, like, why are you reaching out to me? But I'm interested in learning more side hustles. Like, I know other friends, they were thinking about starting an Airbnb also, but not really sure how to get started. Oh, we lost Shonda. Hopefully Shonda arrives back. So we'll see. So yeah, if you're on Instagram, if you want to see Shonda, then come to YouTube. Okay. Come to YouTube. I'm just still wanting to be live on Instagram because that is where I said I was going to do. So hopefully Shonda comes. Okay, I see her back.
Sorry.
It's okay. I understand. We've been having some technical issues today. But so yeah, just give us some information on how to get started. But first, what is your background with just period? What is your background?
So I went to school actually to be a nurse. So I am a nurse, and then I went back to school to be a nurse practitioner. So I have my master's in nursing. And I even though I really enjoy nursing, I enjoy taking care of people. I just knew that wasn't something I wanted to do full time for the rest of my life. Because working 12 hours isn't a joke. Sometimes working 3 days a week, 4 days a week. Sometimes, especially during the pandemic, at the beginning, I was working like almost 5 days a week, 12 hours, and it's very tiring. So I just knew that it was something that I didn't want to do like that for the rest of my life. So I was like, I get something else to do. And so Airbnb just happened to be that thing that allowed me to cut back on my job some and then afforded me more time to do things that I'm more interested in.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. I don't think I've ever wanted a 9 to 5, but so I can understand, especially 7 to 7. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
So you got into Airbnb. Did you need any experience going forward, or how did the startup process work out?
So a friend of mine actually is the one got the Airbnb first. And he was like, Shawnee, you should try it. I think you can do it. And I was just like, I just don't think so. It's just, not for me. And so he just kept on, kept on, kept on. So after probably like 6 months of the encouragement is when I actually started. Now looking back, I'm like, I should have started when I first got the encouragement because I could have been, farther along than what I am now. I'm not in a bad spot at all with my Airbnbs, but I could have had, could have been farther along with it. And actually could have probably cut back on my secular career a little bit sooner if I would have listened. So so that was encouraging me. I was like, just go ahead. So I started out, I went and looked for places, got my business license, got my LLC, and went and just searched for places that apartment complexes that allowed Airbnb or corporate housing. And so I did that, got a place, and started November of 2019. And since then I've got several different other places. I own 2 places now, 2 properties myself. So I was able to buy actually during the pandemic. So that I'm pretty proud of that. But Airbnb, starting out with Airbnb, that helped me afford be able to, get other places and properties.
Yeah. Well, that's good. And you kind of had a little bit of startup funds from being a nurse. I mean, even though the hours aren't great, the pay, I'm sure, helped out starting the Airbnb.
Yeah, because you definitely need you definitely need some money to start out with. You can't go in there with like $0 and be like, oh, I'm gonna start my Airbnb. No, you can't do that because of course you're gonna need like a down payment. If you subleasing an apartment, you're gonna need a down payment. Often they check your credit score, how much money you have in the bank. So you do need some type of funds. You do have to furnish it. You do have to have decorations and stuff like that. So it do requires funds and a good credit. However, with management, you don't have to necessarily put out thousands and thousands of dollars. That's not necessary. No.
Okay. But so what I've seen some like on other sources even say about, I know this is not what you're doing, but would you recommend like renting out an extra room, or just if you are still on that property and you don't have the financial ability to buy a house or lease an apartment, like owning or renting out a place that you live in, just starting out?
Yeah, like if you I wouldn't personally rent out, like if I like rent out an extra bedroom. Personally, I wouldn't do that because you don't know who's coming into your house, even though they may have good ratings and all stuff like that. From like a previous host, you still just really don't know who's coming to your house. I wouldn't do that. But if I had a basement, like a finished basement, I definitely would Airbnb out that basement. Because that person can have like a separate entrance, and you really don't have to worry about them coming up to where you and your family live. So I would do that. I wouldn't do a spare bedroom. There are people that do it though, and they are successful. So if it works for you, do it. It's not for me though.
Yeah, I wouldn't be comfortable just because, I mean, I know some people, they're opening up during this pandemic and doing a lot more things, but that's just an added reason, not just for safety, but just an
Yeah.
added reason with everything that's going on now.
Mm.
So
So
I know you.
but the good thing is with that is you do get help personally with your expenses. Like you get help with your mortgage or your rent. You get help with your light bill just because that extra little income that comes into your home. It's like an extra form of income. So if that's for you though, do it.
Yeah, because I've heard of like looking more into passive income. I've heard of some people like house hacking, where they'll get a house and they'll get a bunch of roommates, and the roommates pay them, and they don't have to pay on the house. They're basically living there for free
Yeah.
because everybody else. So I'm not sure how Airbnb would work doing that, but that's another thing that people have done. So is this something that you can only do in America, or can you do it in other places?
No, Airbnb is in every country. Well, I don't. I take it back. I'm not gonna say every country, but it's in other countries around the world. Yes, so you don't have to necessarily be in America. I'm based in Atlanta. You don't necessarily have to be in Atlanta. You can be across the United States and in other parts of the world and do Airbnb. Because people traveling, they gonna come. I mean, people gonna come probably in the city and state near you.
Yeah. And I feel like right now Airbnb would be the more popular option as opposed to hotels. Because I feel like, are they cleaner? I would say they're cleaner than hotels, especially like we said in the pandemic, people would probably look for a more cleaner place. I'm not sure if I'm saying that, but a more clean place than a hotel. So do you think the pandemic has impacted your business in a positive way, or have you seen a lot of challenges during the pandemic?
So at the beginning, I wasn't really open to doing like longer stays. So at the beginning, I had to be of the pandemic. I had to be more open to allowing longer stays because people wasn't like coming for a weekend and going back home. A lot of people was displaced because of the pandemic, or they had to travel for work. Um, or it's just various different reasons. So thankfully, I was able to open up both my places. At that time, I had two or three, I can't remember. At the beginning, I had two at the beginning of the pandemic, and so I was able to open up those two, and for longer stays. And so both of them, I had one person to book for 3 months, and then another person that booked for 2 months. And so that helped out tremendously. They helped out tremendously. That was probably like the biggest, but it really wasn't a challenge because even with that, I was still booked. So for at least the first 3 months of the pandemic, and then after that, people slowly started to, start to travel again.
Yeah. Well, that was a nice, I'm sure, addition to the income for 3 months, a 3 month stay. That
Hmm. Yeah, it was amazing. They was really a really nice family. The husband worked for the CDC, so he had to come to Atlanta. They were originally from DC, so he had to come to Atlanta. I guess because of the pandemic, and so they stayed for 3 months, and so it was really really nice family. But I have heard a lot of people say that they would rather stay in an Airbnb rather than a hotel. Um, During the pandemic just because they feel like it's a little bit cleaner. Um, in Airbnbs, we have our cleaner or my cleaner. I'm speaking for everybody. My cleaner goes and clean after every visit, every guest visit, and the guest rates your cleanliness. And so if you look and you see what this guest rated my cleanliness as a 4, that's when you need to be making a phone call to your cleaner and be like, hey, what's going on? So at hotels you can't really rate the hotel. I mean, you can rate the hotel on cleanliness, but it's not like a real direct thing. It's not a huge impact on a hotel, I feel. But it is a huge impact to the guest if you rate their cleanliness or anything else as low. It is a direct impact on them. So yeah, we do. I pride myself on trying to be as clean as possible for sure.
Yeah. So that's good. I'm sure that helps your business even more. So just starting out, like if someone just started out, they have their first property or they have their first finished basement, what would be the expected income if you're just starting out with Airbnb hosting?
So a lot of factors goes into how much you can expect in as an income. One other things are the location, how many bedrooms you have, and so how many people can actually stay there, and your prices, the price range of the other Airbnbs around you. That has something to do with, so it has a lot to do with different variables. However, it shouldn't be you should be able to make the rent of whatever the price is, plus you should be able to make more if you price it right and you say booked.
So yeah. So that's so how would I ask this? Is there a lot of business or is there a lot, do you have slower months or slower seasons or is it pretty steady income?
Summer months are always, spring and summer is always super super busy. There's plenty of to do. Kids are at school, people are, you know, taking their vacation from work. So spring and summer is usually the busier months. The winters, late fall and winter are a little bit slower, and people usually, when they do come, usually do longer stays just because of the holidays. So people, you know, have 4 or 5 day week of off of work, so they'll stay for like, you know, full week for New Year's and Christmas and Thanksgiving and stuff like that. So but I have never had an issue with having nothing booked, or, you know, especially on weekends. People always book on weekends. And that should be when you get the bulk of your money that's going to pay your rent. And then anything that's during the week is going to be your pocket money, I guess is the best way to say it.
Nice, nice. So I'm sure you learned a lot over these almost 2 years, and I know you offer consultations and coaching now. So what would be the best way for people, they say, I have the circumstances, to contact you to start coaching or to get some help?
So you can follow me on Instagram, Southern Comfort Stays. Yep, my IG, Southern Comfort Stays. You can follow me. And then on there it says book now. So you can just click the link and book a consultation. We can hop on the Zoom call and discuss where you are in your process of getting started, discuss what is needed to get started, and yeah. So always open for new bookings. I've had a couple of people that didn't think they had an Airbnb site, but they actually did. And when I was talking, I was like, "Oh yeah, I can do that." So you'll be surprised. Some things that you may not have thought of that you can actually do for Airbnb.
That sounds great. Like, I know I don't have the circumstances, but if I did, I would most definitely want to start. But thank you for coming. Is there anything else that you think you should mention or want to tell them while you're here, or say anything?
No, just follow me for tips. Even if you don't necessarily book consultation, follow my Instagram for small little tips on business, and getting started on Airbnb. Plus, I do a couple of reels that I think are funny.
Yeah,
You
me
know?
too. I think my reels are funny. I've learned to laugh at myself, most definitely. They help. So, but yeah, I love your reels. So, but thank you so much for helping me start this. I'm just looking for more ways, and I'm sure other people are too, especially in this pandemic. You know, some people are comfortable going out working in the public, but not everybody has that circumstances, depending on when you live. So thank you for this first interview. I'm going to start, I think next week, we're going to talk about like Amazon, starting how
Okay.
you can make money with Amazon with just selling notebooks or like making them from your computer. So I'm
Oh,
excited to learn.
cool. I've heard that. So, yeah, someone was telling me about it. So that's interesting for sure.
Yeah.
For
So
sure.
anyway, so thank you so much. I'm going to end the broadcast. You can still stay on this thing we're doing, but I'm going to end it here, and I will see you guys next week. So thank you.
Thank you for joining.